You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Almost. Major. Holy fucking shit, this is major!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Almost Major, where we talk about the many major studios and the films they release. We are on our Film District miniseries. My name is Kevin Tudor. I'm here with Charlie Nash.
Hello.
And Bryden Doyle.
Hello.
And today we're talking about Playing for Keeps from 2012. You goddamn right we are. New York City premiere, December 5th, 2012. Released on December 7th, 2012 at number 6 in 2,837 theaters and maxed out on 2,840 theaters. So during the run they said, we need 3 more theaters. We're going to need some more. Budget, $35 million. Opening weekend, $5.7 million. Domestic gross of $13.1 million. And overall gross of $27.8 million. More popular overseas than in the U.S. Probably because soccer and shit. I don't know. Top 5 films that weekend, being that this came out like 2 weeks after Red Dawn. It's basically... No, it is the same movie. It's just different orders. Top 5 films that weekend, Skyfall. Rise of the Guardians, still a fake movie. The Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Part 2, Lincoln, and Life of Pi. Number 1 song in the US this week, Diamonds by Rihanna. Number 1 song in Canada this week, Diamonds by Rihanna. Okay. Plot description from Google. Long past his soccer-playing heyday, George Dreyer, played by Gerard Butler, is struggling financially and failing in his attempt to reconcile with his ex-wife. He's trying to reconcile with his ex-wife. She's not trying to. Stacy, played by Jessica Biel, and young son Lewis. When Lewis's soccer team has an opening for a coach, George steps up. They don't have an opening for a coach. He just starts coaching them, and the coach is just like, "Hey, man, you want to do my job? Because
I'm fine with this."
Yeah. Not only is George a big hit with the children, but he also attracts a lot of attention from the players' single and unhappily married mothers.
There's gotta be a better way to say that he's a big hit with the children.
Jesus Christ. I mean, he is. They suck, and then he comes on and he's just like, "Here's how you kick ball," and they're just like, "Holy shit, dude."
That honestly would have been a better movie if he was like, "Yo, kids, you suck."
They learn English slang like wanker and become better players.
I'm chuffed at the performance of all these kids. I gotta say this again. Not only is George a big hit with the children, but he also attracts lots of attention from some of the players' single and unhappily married mothers. That's the end of the plot description. Okay, I had a rating reason question. Rated PG-13 for some sexual situations. Sure. Language. Sure. And a brief, intense image. What is the brief, intense image?
Jessica Biel on the poster and how that's not her face. I don't know.
I think it's the wrestling match between Dennis Quaid and Gerard Butler on the soccer field that then turns into just like a playful dog pile with all the kids the kids, I feel like they would see this just 2 grown adults fighting and they would not think, yeah, this is a goof, right? They would be like, oh, goodness, someone's going on here.
That's not an image, that's a scene. So if it was like a brief, intense scene or like thematic elements or something, what's the picture? I looked at the parental guide on IMDb, as I do. I didn't see shit. I don't know what it is.
Maybe they accidentally did a run-on, they were just going through a bunch of movies and they were just listing all the adjectives. They're like, hey, you put intense image under that movie, and they were just like, oh, that one? Who cares? And they just let it stick.
It's all the scenes of people looking out the window, spying on each other. Just
all the De Palma shout-outs, yeah.
It's how the movie should have ended. It's like Jessica Biel is looking out the window and Gerard Butler goes in to join him, stays in the window a little bit longer, and James Tupper takes the place.
James Tupper at the end of this movie is just that SpongeBob meme where Squidward's looking outside and SpongeBob and Patrick are having fun. The ending is so deranged because she literally is just like, I'm sorry, I've never stopped loving him. And then he just has to sit inside and listen to her son, and Gerard Butler have a great time. It's so fucked
What if
up.
it did fade out to black, but you just heard gunshots?
That's what I thought, because it faded out, and I was just like, okay, that's where you end the movie. And then it's just like, nope, he's got a buddy where he does news reporting with, and that scene is 20 seconds long. And I was like...
And he's probably also still not wearing pants. I don't know.
That's the brief,
joke.
intense image when it's revealed he's just sitting there.
Yeah, that he just has no pants.
The brief intense image is the landlord just scoping out him being with Judy Greer for like, I don't know, an hour.
Also, that's not a. Also, we've lived through the pandemic. That's not a joke. That's just what people did.
That guy, he has a, hold on, I forgot to pull up my notes here, but I thought he was actually kind of funny. I don't know. I was holding on to
I
any
think this
threads.
movie gave you Stockholm syndrome.
A little bit. You know what? Let me have this. I don't know.
I mean, do you want to pick this one? That go with God, I guess.
This
I don't
is
know.
the best movie we have covered for Film District. Okay.
I don't know. Would I like to be kicked in the groin or stub my toe? I don't know.
Would I like to be attacked by Ben the bear or?
Yeah. Would I love to swim in shark-infested waters or jellyfish-infested waters? I don't know.
Written by Robbie Fox. This man did write So I Married an Axe Murderer, so he gets a pass, but he also co-wrote a movie, The Man from Toronto from 2022, and that can't be a knock against
that's just
him
Bryden.
because that movie was deleted right after filming, and everybody just agreed upon that.
I thought it was just Bryden.
The Man from Toronto. Every time he steps in Toronto, there he is. They made a whole
There
movie
he
about
is.
it.
Once every 6 months, and just to go see like the new Clint Eastwood movie.
There he is, watching Old Man Clint. I think that movie is Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson. Don't test me. I don't know.
Bingo.
Oh, wow. Sure. Directed by Gabriel Muccino. Prior to this, The Last Kiss in 2001, remade starring our finest film director, Zach Braff. Moving on. The Pursuit of Happiness with a Y in 2006. 7 Pounds in 2008. Brian Cox from The Ring does not like how that movie ends. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think after this, he stopped making movies in the U.S. Starring Gerard Butler as George Dreyer. Prior to this, Tomorrow Never Dies in 1997. Didn't know that. Dracula 2000. Hell yeah, the movie sucks and I own it. Reign of Fire in 2002.
He was in that?
I guess. I don't know. He played the
Is he a
dragon.
dragon? Yeah.
It just looked like Gerard Butler, like straight in the face. What was it, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, where those dogs just had like Freddy Krueger's face on them? That's what it looks like. It's just a dragon with Jerry Butler's face. The Phantom of the Opera in 2004, which I've heard is god-awful. 300 from 2006, a movie that is impossible to watch past 2008. Rock and Roll of 2008, he plays somebody named 1-2. You'd never guess Guy Ritchie made this. Do you think Guy Ritchie was really pissed off when Smoking Aces came out? Like, he just took my whole ass style. Like, I could have made this movie in my sleep. Gamer and The Ugly Truth and Law Abiding Citizen in 2009. After this, Olympus Has Fallen in 2013. We will be covering that later in this miniseries. This is too much. It's too much around here. Den of Thieves. Not only has London fallen, but Angel has fallen as well. I thought that show ended in 2000, but whatever. Plane, and just this last week or so, sequel to Den of Thieves, which Charlie has said will be hard to beat as his favorite of the year.
No, but it's fun. I liked it more than the first one.
Glowing reviews from one Charlie Nash.
I mean, it's fine. Gerard Butler's not my go-to guy, but in terms of his movies, that one's pretty good.
How's
Better than this.
O'Shea Jackson Jr., a guy that I cannot stand?
Whoa, why?
It's fine.
His Twitter. He's an annoying wrestling Twitter guy. How much Pantera's needle dropped in it?
None.
That's a fucking waste.
There is an insane needle drop during the end of that movie, though.
Over or under more insane than the needle drop at the end of Confidence? Nothing is beating
Nothing's
that.
gonna top Confidence's needle drop.
Literally nothing is beating that.
It's insane because it should have been a needle drop. It was a needle drop that was very popular in movies 10 to 12 years ago. I'll just say that.
Not as wild as the movie Bad Dreams from the late 80s, which is 1000% a ripoff of Nightmare on Elm Street 3. It ends with Sweet Child of Mine. It's weird. And I think that song was like the music video has scenes from Bad Dreams in it. It's weird. Jessica Biel as
a watch list.
It's not good.
No, I just love doing. Our friend Tyler Harford loves doing that bit. It's a good bit. Yeah.
Jessica Biel as Stacy. Prior to this, Rules of Attraction 2002. Listen to our episode. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. That's a good ass movie. She apparently voiced herself in an episode of Johnny Bravo in 2004. That show was still going on in 2004. I didn't know that.
I guess.
And also Cellular and Blade Trinity in 2004. London from 2005. Is this the aforementioned London that did indeed fall? I don't know. 134 episodes of Seventh Heaven from 1996 to 2006. Next, and Now I Pronounce You Chuck and Larry in 2007. This woman cannot do movies that aren't bangers. Wow. Same year as this, Total Recall, Hitchcock, and The Tall Man, which I wanted to watch when it came out because it was the same director as Martyrs, but then I heard it would decrease your life by several years if you watched it, so I didn't watch it. After this, one episode of New Girl in 2014. 8 episodes of The Sinner, which she was nominated for a Golden Globe and Emmy, and was released... oh, I'm dying. Recently on a miniseries Candy in 2022. All right, there's a lot of people left, and it's 4 a.m. while I'm doing this outline. It's 9 p.m., but I'm old. Dennis Quaid, Judy Greer, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Uma Thurman. Any favorite Judy Greer performances from y'all? How about that? Maybe
Archer.
The Descendants.
Know its voice work.
Maybe the best friend role of the 2000s and 13 going on 30. Just saying.
Good. It's the worst best friend performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like her. I mean, who doesn't love Judy Greer? I mean, I actually think she's really good
Michael
in The Village.
Myers.
Arf. Forgot she was in Three Kings. I'm just going through her IMDb.
1570
right
to Paris.
I have
I'm
not
kidding.
seen that.
She is not good in that movie, but no one really is, in my opinion.
Trivia. Director Gabriel Muccino publicly disowned this movie, citing studio interference and a troubled relation with Gerard Butler. I want that documentary. I want the what's the documentary about the director of Boondock Saints? I want that documentary on Playing for Keeps.
Overnight, right? Yeah, I need to see that.
Except the documentary is just called Kept. The story that George tells at the party about meeting the Queen in the locker room is that the real story about Spanish soccer player Carlos Puyol. He met the Queen of Spain when he came out of the shower after winning the World Championship semifinals. Good Lord Almighty, thank God that was clarified. Was originally announced as Confessions of a Little League Coach in 2004. That makes it sound like a rated R raunchy direct-to-video comedy. Writer Robbie Fox came up with the idea that year based on his experience coaching his son's Little League team and being hit on by all the other team members' moms. Okay, Rob. He pitched it to Jonathan Mastow, who was also the team's assistant coach. Mastow loved it and signed on to produce and direct after it was bought by Columbia Pictures. Development stalled for years, and after being financed independently and retitled Slide in 2010. The fuck is that name? That's okay.
Sideway.
Instead of Gerard Butler on the poster, it's just the Penguin from Fight Club. In 2010, it was changed from being about baseball. Okay. Slide baseball, that makes more sense.
I guess so. Yeah,
still stupid.
absolutely.
In 2010, it was changed from baseball to soccer to broaden appeal for international audiences. I wanted to make a joke here, but it did make more overseas than domestic. And retitled Playing the Field, Mostow stayed on as producer. It was retitled again before its release for Playing for Keeps. He doesn't really play for keeps. Ricky Bobby plays for keeps.
I play for keeps. I play for keeps.
He doesn't
What-
play at all. He's just sort of
we asked-
like, man, I don't get why all these
What does
people are
this
hitting
title
on me.
even? What does it even mean? What is that supposed to convey to anyone looking to go see a movie and be like, what does that? What does that mean? What am I going to go see? Like,
I guess he's playing to keep his wife, but like that sounds kind of creepy when you put it like that.
the whole movie is kind of creepy when you get down to it. I mean,
Yes. Yeah, the only time he plays is when it's when like Dennis Quaid. It's just like, you guys aren't gonna believe it. Gerard Butler's gonna hit this fucking Gatorade bottle. Watch this shit. The soccer moms aren't wet enough yet. He's gonna fucking do it again. And I'm like, what is that scene? It makes no sense. Sean O'Brien, who plays Gerard Butler's assistant coach, so I assume the guy that's like on his phone, appeared with Butler in Olympus Has Fallen. We'll keep our eyes for Mr. Sean O'Brien. Wow, I got 2 maybe top tier bottom of the barrel IMDb trivia facts. When the Sun uses the word plethora, which means a lot, it brings to mind whether an intentional homage or not. That word used famously by the villain El Guapo and Three Amigos. No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, I think about that all the time, man. a plethora of times, you might say.
That word made famously by Three Amigos in 1989.
Good Lord.
And also another one, the scene where the kids are awkwardly open and opinionated about their parents' sexual activity was done previously in Kindergarten Cop. Okay.
Whatever.
The first and most impactful time that has happened. Any kid who talks about their parents fucking, you gotta give props to Kindergarten Cop. That makes no sense.
Hey, can I take him for dinner after?
Yeah, come on, Mom. What if we're back by 7?
Back by 7.
Okay, fine, 7.
7 it is, don't worry. Say bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Mom.
Who's the new soccer coach?
Stacy's ex, the soccer player.
You were a great player. Dreyer with a shot. So what are you doing with your time now, post-soccer?
You ever think what it might have been like if I hadn't screwed it all up?
All the time, I wondered. You were the most exciting thing that ever happened to me, George.
Are you sad Mom's getting married?
Yeah, but Matt seems like a nice guy.
I decided I'm not gonna call him Dad.
Hi, I'm Denise.
Have we met before?
Not that I remember.
You're a sportscaster on TV.
I was. ESPN are looking to expand their soccer coverage.
I got that audition as a sportscaster.
Dad, please don't leave.
That's all the trivia I got. I'm going to go first. This movie's not good, but maybe I was just extra sad that day. But it made me tear up at the end. He got Jessica Biel with a lot of coercion and a lot of not good behavior. But I don't know. It worked on me at the end. Fuck it. The opening CGI and deepfakes for Gerard Butler at the start was pretty scary. I didn't like that. There was some off-brand ass Black Keys music at the start. Welcome to early 2010s. Judy Greer actually says the line, "Actually, I'm on the internet," as if she's 58 years old. The landlord seeing Butler hook up with Judy Greer and going "son of a bitch" made me laugh. I'm very sorry. That's all the notes I got. No, it's not good, but I don't know. Something worked on my lizard brain where I was watching it, and I was just like, this is bad. I wonder what happens. I don't know. Now to our other correspondent, Charlie Nash, who gave this film 19 stars. What did you think?
I don't have anything to say. This is not a real movie. It just feels like it was not written. It doesn't have a personality. I felt bad for everybody involved. Like, it's just the type of movie that, like, first off, it's just bad, but second of all, just like, it does not appeal to me at all. Sports, heterosexuality, Gerard Butler, will he get to keep his kid or go to be a sports newscaster? And all for him, all these women are just drooling over him and not in the most sexist archetypal ways. I don't give a shit. I just wanted this movie to be over. I don't.
Judy Greer her role is fucking embarrassing in this.
Her and Uma Thurman made me particularly upset. Uma Thurman, I was like, I don't. So with Jessica Biel, who's doing her Jessica Bieliest, and Judy Greer, which is embarrassing. Catherine Zeta-Jones, I don't know what she's doing. I really don't. I nearly expected Catherine Zeta-Jones, I nearly expected her to be like an alien who abducts him at the end of this movie. Like at one point when they're like, "Here, let's test it out in our new studio," I was like, "They're on a spaceship right now. Like, this is not a sports studio."
And man, this movie will try to make you believe that Gerard Butler finds his calling as a sports commentator halfway through. Catherine Zeta-Jones giving him 19 turns to be good at this, and then he just stops and goes, "What happened? What happened to France, man?" That's it.
What happened to the French? I can't do a Scottish accent.
It just feels like everybody was forced at gunpoint to make this movie. It didn't feel like anything was like Jessica Biel seems to be the only person who actually gives a shit. And
you remember that empty box on the poster for Playing for Keeps? That's actually supposed to just be a revolver pointed at everybody. Yeah. Jessica Biel, smile. We couldn't get her to smile. Here's a fake smile.
Yeah. Where should we put the camera? There, I guess? I don't know. Who cares?
There's that letterbox list that someone made where it's like, "You better be my damn neighbor." Whereas the one you beat to a poster with the Crumb poster next to it simply say, "Mr. Rogers is holding a gun."
Oh, yeah.
Get like the cellular poster next to the Playing for Keeps poster, which I think has Jason Statham holding a gun, and then just you better be playing for keeps.
Better help Kim Basinger. Remember Cellular? Who else is in Cellular? It's Kim Basinger,
William H. Macy, Jason Statham, Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. That's right. I liked that when it came out. Sure.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed to watch that past like 2006 though. You should only watch that on UMD on your PSP. That's it.
There's like an urban legend if you watch Cellular past the year 2006
Samara
that you
calls you.
Yeah.
Come on, my mom had it on in the background. Come on.
On your old flip phone from 2009 or something. Yeah.
She only calls like in the ring where you have to watch the entire tape. She calls and like, really? You watched all of it? You watched all of it? Like, you sat down and watched.
the Cinderman remix of the end credits.
Like you watched all of Cellular in the year of our Lord 2025. You're not gonna die in 7 days. I'm on my way. Like right now. Sorry, Charlie, to cut you off. You had much more to say.
Oh, I did. No, I don't. This is just once again, like I said with Red Dawn, this is just a movie that doesn't exist, and thank God it made no money. It truly does not exist, like past the year 2012.
When is this coming out on 4K? I need to get the Steelbook of Playing for Keeps.
We'll check back in 2 years.
Yeah, this movie's bad, but like I said, it got my lizard brain in some parts.
You
I
have
don't know.
Stockholm syndrome.
Or I'm just a dumb hetero man. I don't know. And I'm very lonely. Leave me alone.
I am also very lonely, but I don't know. I just it's like I'm trying to think of it. I don't know. I watch Moonstruck when I get for this shit. I don't know. Like,
Okay, I didn't willingly put this on. I had a gun pointed at me by myself to watch this movie. Okay.
It's the scene in Unfriended where it's like they can't read the note and everything, and it's like if you don't want to play for keeps, you'll die. Or something like that. It's like no.
You might as well just kill me, Skype ghost. Is it Unfriended Dark Web where the guy is like forced to put his hand in a blender? I'm just like, how about you just don't
I think
do
so,
it?
yeah.
It's the first one, Jacob Wysocki from Terry. Yeah.
Okay, good, because I was just like, that
What if-
sounds stupid.
I like
That can't be in
Kevin
Dark
watching
Web.
that movie. What if you just didn't?
That Tyler, the Creator tweet where it's just like, how is cyberbullying real? Motherfucker, just close your eyes. Close the laptop.
That's also advice for this movie. How is this movie real? You just close your eyes, throw your TV out the window.
I will say the kid being very aggro that, was it Gerard Butler is coaching him and whatnot. He's on the phone with Judy Greer, who's 2 feet away from him. No, wait, he's on the phone with Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's 2 feet away from him, being like, I can't stop thinking about it last night. And he's like, yeah, whatever. It passed the time. I don't care. And then Judy Greer's looking at him, and also Jessica Biel's looking at him. And then he misses his kid making a goal, and he's like, you didn't even see it. You made me upset. And I'm just like, that's not how kids talk. It's fine.
Yeah.
You calling this kid aggro? I mean, there's the scene in Den of Thieves where he goes to the restaurant and Pablo Schreiber's like, we're family, bro. We appreciate you popping off. And Drapo's like, oh, okay. I need to get a lot of aggro. Would have been very funny to just like that to his kid.
Also, the Judy Greer ending up with
The
his
landlord?
landlord. Yeah, that landlord's dead, and then by the next day, like Judy Greer has bodies buried somewhere. Like,
She watches the movie May very often, yeah. She's trying to make a perfect human.
When Jonathan Mostow was directing the movie, it was the twist is that someone was like kidnapping people with their trucks and everything, taking them in like their underground shelters, like breakdown.
I need to watch that.
Breakdown
it's
rules.
so fucking good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this movie, imagine the exact opposite of that. That's
Nice.
Breakdown. Yeah.
This movie just forgets that Uma Thurman exists until she just shows up.
And
Gerard
shame.
Butler's like, I'm sorry, I'm actually in my guest house. You're in my landlord's house. And
Yeah, and the joke is that, like, she's like, oh, it's a little Middle Eastern for it. The weird jokes about the Middle Eastern landlord, like, in the year 2012, I know that we are also still a deeply racist country, and that shit will still pop up in comedies today, but, like, even by these standards.
And
this
it's
is
like
just-
so sledgehammer in the approach where like they not only have her make that comment, but then they play like a gong and like this sort of like music that's like making supposed to be evoking that country. And you're just like, fuck off. Like, what the hell?
It really made me think too. Uma Thurman is drinking in every scene of this movie, and I'm like, she probably brought the wine herself. Like, she probably just brought the booze to just be like, no, it's just part of my character. I mean, I'll just be drinking too much. Like,
My Gerard Butler needs wine. Yeah. She like disappears for like 30 minutes and then just shows up, which, how's Gerard Butler renting a guest house, which is a guest house is like basically just like a studio apartment for $900 fucking dollars. Like,
also, what state are they in again? Washington?
Virginia.
America.
Virginia? Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
The town of America. Virginia.
Whatever happened to America?
It's like that joke in Mr. Show where they're like, here's a picture of Europe we drew, and it's just America, and the whole bottom half of the country is France.
Oh, because what is it? His job is in Connecticut, which is the weird thing in like a rom-com. It's usually like, I'm moving to the big city, to New York. It's just like, oh man, you got to move to Connecticut. That's not a good thing. I wouldn't move either. Yeah, especially near the end, where it's just like he keeps showing up, and she's obviously like, hey, get away, and he has to like James Bond her, where he's just like, no means yes, actually. But if the movie had any, it would have basically ended where Jessica Biel sees him fighting with Dennis Quaid, sees the pictures, and then just like stops talking to him, and that would have been, good.
What if Jessica Biel just killed Gerard Butler?
Like
and
10
then
minutes
she
in.
and her new boyfriend
Nice
bury
Ferrari.
the
Can
body.
I drive it? Can you stand in
Yeah.
front of it?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. After like 10 minutes, like her fiance would have been like, "Hey, your ex-husband's outside with a Corvette, which means he's going through a lot. Obviously, can I just call the cops?" Also, yeah, he shows up. What is it, like 3 a.m? Like, Jesus Christ.
I don't even remember anymore, and I watched this movie 3 days ago.
I strangely remember a lot about this. But
I forgot this movie while I was watching it.
like, Judy Greer shows up and is like, "Who is this woman?"
Oh, right. Her name is Divorce. Yeah.
Her name is Please Have Sex With Me. That's every woman in this movie.
It
Did
made
you
me
know
feel
that men
so-
wrote this?
I know. That's the thing. It's just like... That's the thing. It just made me... every woman in this movie is written as such a one-note, shrill archetype.
For God's sake. Catherine Zeta-Jones emailing him on email.com, being like,
Email.com. And his email is... Yeah.
It's like Gerard Butler at email.web.
Yeah. Also, I know I just used the word shrill, and I meant that as like, ugh.
I know what you mean.
The movie,
Yeah.
the movie's really judgmental of like the women for like having sexual desires and everything. Like with Judy Greer, the most generous reading you could give is that like she has the scene where she hooks up with Gerard Butler once, and it's like, thanks for giving my confidence back. And it's like, okay, at least like, seemed like that was fun for both of them, and like it's not like there's like a serious relationship and everything. And it's like that's the most generous reading I can give for that character or anything. Whereas like Uma Thurman, it's like just cartoon behavior where it's like no one like who like is like a sane person would behave like this and everything. Or like I don't want to be like too judgy about saying is the wrong word and everything, but it's just like it doesn't seem like this character would behave logically and everything. It's just like, and
Because this movie wasn't written by a human being. It was
No,
like
and then
written by... It feels like it was written by AI, honestly.
It was written by
Right.
the
And then,
aliens
like-
from Simpsons.
And then the Catherine Zeta-Jones character is like sexually extorting Gerard Butler, basically like saying, like she's like saying, aren't you gonna do something for me in return after I got you this job and everything? Where you're just like, oh gosh. But then also you're like, separate from that, you're right, Kevin, you're watching this Gerard Butler tape and you're saying like, I can't tell if this is supposed to be good or not. Like, I think this is bad. Like, he seems really stiff and forced when he's like doing these things, and people are like watching, like, this guy's got the goods. And I'm like, I don't know about that. And then
Doesn't she say she's going to send it to ESPN, and then at the end he's just doing like a local ass news show with his friend or something?
right, and because man, that
because he
one scene they had to get
he doesn't go to Connecticut to ESPN. Okay, that's right.
right, and man,
God, I should have
that
paid
one-
attention. I'm so sorry. Oh
Well,
my
and
God.
also that one scene that he and his friend had together, their chemistry is just off the charts. Like, could not get enough of it.
Well, his entire conversation with his friend is just like, "Hey, don't take my fucking job. Don't fucking do it."
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, everything in this movie is like so predictable and everything. Like Dennis Quaid, like the moment he shows up, you're just like he's like saying, "Ha, I'm a really nice guy." Ha,
Please don't fuck my wife. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go fuck somebody who's not my wife.
Yeah, he just like says like, I mean, he says like, I do give a shit. I'm just really good at hiding it. And I'm like, you sure about that,
dude? Like, oh my god.
Yeah. And yeah, just like Muccino's style. I mean, like just like that fucking score, which feels
What
like it's
style?
His over saccharine fucking melodramatic like Pursuit of Happiness. Which when I saw that movie, it's good. I'm not. There's no gun to my head. I'm not
Better
watching
than
it.
this.
Well, yeah, and also it spells happiness with a Y. That's cute. Would you rather watch this or 7 Pounds?
Oh, 7 pounds easily.
Would you rather watch this or The Last Kiss?
I haven't seen The Last Kiss yet, but I'll
Would you
go
rather
with
watch
that.
this or double feature The Last Kiss and the remake with Zach Braff? Which one is
God.
shorter?
Yeah, whatever one is shorter.
the Zach Braff one has Snow Patrol. Is that something that you'd be into?
I will say this: 7 pounds is a much funnier film than this one, even though it's not trying to be.
Yeah, you got me there. It's so weird, the quote-unquote revelation that Dennis Quaid makes, which every time he shows up on scene, it looks like he just did like 9 rails, and he's just like, hey, Gerard Butler, hey, how's it going?
I like it. Now the substance has just ruined this for me, where every time I see Dennis Quaid, all I can think of is him just with a mouthful of shrimp. And like,
That's basically all of his roles of the past 15 years.
Yeah.
That's how he plays Ronald Reagan. I don't know if you know that.
Very weird Traffic reunion between him and Catherine Zeta-Jones. And then I just thought to myself, "Oh, I would much rather be watching Traffic right now."
I thought you were going to be
much different type of movie than this.
I mean, he gets killed mid phone call in this movie. Like, he doesn't
Also
that would be
preferable.
awesome. I need you to track him at the yeah. But yeah, his revelation that he thinks that Gerard Butler's fucking his wife because he says, "I have her followed," which is like, cool, man. But the guy that is following Uma Thurman and gets pictures of him being in Gerard Butler's bedroom, did that guy just leave after a minute to not see that nothing happened or what? Like...
Or that Gerard Butler's saying, "Hey man, I really don't want to have sex with you" and everything. He has to say, "Hey man," but
Uma Thurman shows up, "Hey man."
I mean, that is kind of Butler's energy in the whole movie and everything. And he's like just saying like, "Oh, hey, I don't know about having sex with you because I'm going to my son's little league." I'm sorry,
That literally is his entire thing. I thought this movie was going to be like, I want to be with Jessica Biel, but who am I to turn down these beautiful women? But 9 times out of 10, he's just like, yikes.
And then even though this isn't a real line, it might as well be like, basically anytime he says that, any of the woman's like responses along the lines of, "You know what I love about soccer? Balls," or something like that. Like, it's practically that type of like.
I don't think you're talking about the soccer game, love.
I will say, this is a weird point in Butler's career where, like, while he's doing these sort of B-grade action movies, this is like they're also trying to say like maybe he's a romantic lead because he's got that movie. P.S. I Love You, Kevin, your favorite.
Deranged.
The Ugly Truth, which I first like one of the most misogynistic movies ever made. I've heard it's terrible.
I mean, look at the poster. I mean,
right, and then
her
the
heart's
Bounty
in her
Hunter.
heart. His heart's in his pants. What?
And then The Bounty Hunter was like an action rom-com with him and Jennifer Aniston. Saw that in theaters. It's not very good. And then this is like kind of the last attempt where he's doing that. And then I feel like he now just does like he'll do the occasional drama, but mostly he just
he's found his niche and what works for him. Like,
where he's playing like survey guys
thing,
or like sort of out of sorts guys and everything who are like kind of down and out and everything. And I feel like he wears like the scruff well and everything. I feel like he's like aged into like what he should be as an actor and everything, and as like a screen persona.
It feels like the last like 15 years has basically just been B-sides of Law Abiding Citizen. Basically,
and some of those movies are fun. Like Plane, that's a perfectly enjoyable movie and everything. I think it's, and some of them are like really well directed, and he's fine in some of them. But like here, he just like he doesn't really like get to like a lot of notes to play. I mean, the closest that I feel like you get to seeing him cut loose is, well, one, I think it's good that he's like at least Scottish in this, because I feel like Gerard Butler is one of those actors who gets dinged for doing really bad American accents, where he just sort of talks outside of his mouth to sculpt the stamp of the Scottish accent and everything. I feel like there's like a little bit more musicality to him when he's like speaking. He's like, shoot the ball and everything. Like there is like sort of like a little bit like the emphasis he puts on certain words is fun.
Yeah, talk out of the middle of your mouth hole, Gerard Butler.
They're always after me, Lucky Charms.
Oh
Okay.
God, Logan's gonna come after us for this shit.
It was mostly because he likes Gerard Butler. I will say the one moment that is like where he is kind of charming. I know we're talking about how creepy he is to Jessica Biel throughout this movie and everything, but the scene where they have the sort of walk in the park and everything by like the water and everything. There's like a moment when the camera's sort of following them and just walk and talk and everything, and Gerard Butler sort of like dodges this branch and everything. He sort of like dips under, and it's almost like kind of like a mischievous thing. It's like, oh, here I am and everything. And like I'm thinking, oh, that's like kind of a fun like half-second moment and everything, where there's like a little bit of spontaneity in this very rote rom-com. And then like there's not much of that in the rest of the movie. I will say this is one of those movies that like I found it like, we're talking about some of the bad gender politics in this movie, but like I found this movie like, it largely just sort of like went in one ear and out the other without really being too obtrusive for me, even though it's not especially good. But I will say it is wild, like in the last one, that like the movie is about him coaching his son's soccer team, and there's not really much interaction between him and the team and everything, which, look, the stuff that you do give with the kids is like really like shitty, like, precocious kid comedy that I don't like and everything, but like it's really not that central to the movie, and I feel like it's weird that like they don't explore that at all. And then it feels like it ramps up him getting back, him sort of reconnecting with Jessica Biel, like, taking her out to lunch and everything, and then ramping up to their romantic reunion in the span of like 10 minutes. Like it goes like they progress it like so quickly in a way that's like kind of like makes your head spin and everything. It's like, why are we moving this fast? And it doesn't work. And then the ending is just like kind of, it feels like it ends like 5 different times, and then like it just keeps going. And by that point, I was like so checked out. I mean, this is one of those movies where like it went in one ear out the other, but like by the end of it, I was just like, I'm so not invested in this, and like the characters don't really mean anything. I just there's nothing really here.
What is this movie supposed to be about? Like genuine
redemption,
fatherhood, keeps, and whether or not you can play for them.
Yeah. What happened to the French?
What happened to the French? For some reason, I was Googling what the Blu-ray for Playing for Keeps was, and I'm very sorry I didn't buy this so I could watch the deleted scenes. But Catch and Release Blu-ray popped up. That also seems like a title that could be for this. You could put pretty much any generic title on this movie and it would somehow work.
If it was about baseball, they could have used Catch and Release.
There we go. What if Kevin Smith was in this movie like he's in Catch and Release? Who would you rather have instead of Gerard Butler? Kevin Smith or Timothy Olyphant? Timothy Olyphant would be weird.
Timothy Olyphant, I would at least get why people would be drooling over this fucking creep. Like, but
and then by the end of it,
Olyphant,
you realize it's a prequel to Hitman. Takes the kid out.
That would be funny if he did have the barcode on the back of his head the entire time.
Gerard Butler just kicking a child down a fucking well.
He teaches the kids to shoot the other team. Yeah.
I want to see, like, sometimes on Amazon, it'll be like, you look on a page, it'll be like 10 plus or 100 plus people purchased in the last week. There's nothing for Playing for Keeps at all. It's just like, we have it, I guess.
The episode hasn't come out yet. Gotta check those numbers, man.
Oh, that's true. We're going to have that benefit. People are going to start borrowing Playing for Keeps from the library to watch along with the episode.
I don't want to be associated in anybody's eyes being drawn to this motion picture.
Don't be like, they're covering Playing for Keeps. I got to watch that.
That is blood on my hands that I am not wanting to be responsible for.
Here's the tip. You can watch it on Tubi if you're in Canada, so no blood on your hands there.
Not in America. Had to rent this with money. That's what I did.
Blood money.
That's what I did. I paid for this movie out of pocket, let me tell you. The reconnection with Butler and Beale, like, through like half of the movie, I was just like, that's not going to happen. Because it's very, she can't stand this guy. And then after like 5 minutes, it's just like, I don't know. He like went out to, I don't know. Like, and then James Tupper is just like, hey, I'm fiance. And she's like, I guess. And then like, she just, I don't know. It's weird.
And the son's like, and I am just boy.
And it's also the most stock thing for Beale like showing like how she's falling back into Butler's good graces is that she's like saying, no, I don't want a beer when they go out and everything. Then she has some spicy food and then down this whole beer in one gulp. And you're just like, oh my gosh.
Because she's cool.
Yeah.
She's one of the guys.
What was it? They were eating crab or something?
Yes, that's right.
And he's trying to crack it with the tool, and she does it by hand, man. That's right. I don't know what the character trait that's showing, but...
Also, before I forget, my favorite, like, unintentionally funny detail in this movie, I think it's unintentionally funny because they don't address it, and Gerard Butler's apartment, you're talking about, like, yeah, that's a great deal for, like, you know, living in that place and everything, but, like, I don't think he unpacks his boxes at any point in the movie, and when he shows his kid, like, he's like, here's the room, son, and he opens the door, and, like, there's just this giant Stairmaster just there. It's like he forgot to clear out a room for his kid to sleep in, and, like, it's just there every time they go back in and everything, even when a mom comes by, there's, like, no observation. It's like, couldn't fucking move the exercise equipment to another room.
Yeah, no wonder if the kid is at his place for like an hour and is like, I want to go back to mom's. This place sucks. Also, I was not saying that $900 is a good deal. You're living in a pool house behind your landlord. That's not a good deal.
Yeah, that's not a good deal.
There's a couple of rooms, though. He has room for the TV and the couch and the kitchen. I don't know.
He seems like a motherfucker that would mount his TV too high. I don't like this guy.
I did like I looked up some reviews for this back in the day because I was just morbidly curious, and it did make me laugh that Wesley Morris in his review for the Boston Globe put, watching a woman of Catherine Zeta-Jones's easy carnality and fathomless beauty compete for the attention of Gerard Butler, who's pining for Jessica Biel, is dismaying, like spotting Anna Wintour in line at a soup kitchen.
Damn. Well, I'm seeing here on the cover of the Blu-ray, quote, "Playing for Keeps will warm your heart and make you fall in love again and again and again." Who's that? From Mundo Fox. We all know him.
Did you also see
that man's dead now?
Chris Lemire gave this movie 0 stars out of 4 when she reviewed this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Richard Roper also gave it an F. I believe he had.
Look, if you got Richard Roper giving this movie an F, you know you're in bad territory.
Well, I know one of his dings was talking about how it's like one of like the least accurate movies about like sports broadcasting and everything. I guess he would know because he does like a lot of TV stuff and everything. But it was like, and I was thinking, oh no, and then Krista Lemire, I know she like, I think she was still running for the USA Press when she reviewed it, and then on What the Flick, her show with Bang Bang, like they talk about the moment where Gerard Butler's driving the Ferrari with the kid in his lap and everything, and I think Ben McVitie said that when that happened at the screening, Krista Lemire just like took off her, like covered her face and just like in horror. Which is just something that sticks with me.
Subject Ben Wimkowitz to this movie. He should not be allowed to watch any movie made past 65. Okay, like he has fucking TMC to run. Okay, he can't be bothered watching fucking Playing for Keeps. Come on.
He was on that show he was on What the Flick for like a good several years. I watched that show like regularly when I was a teenager. It was a good show. There were some weird moments, but good show.
It also just like, can you also imagine like being in a movie theater and you have to compromise to go see this movie, but you secretly want to see something like, I don't know, Zero Dark 30 or
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn. Like,
imagine you're a critic and they don't have critic screenings for this, because why would they? And you have to pay out of your own pocket to review Playing for Keeps. I'm using the other money that I withdrawed from the ATM to buy a handgun.
That was something that I've mentioned this, I think, a few times on calls and in group chats. Like, there was a thing that the Toronto Star would have called the Sunday Dreadful, I think is what they called it, where like it was a movie that wouldn't be screened for critics, and that like some critic would like trek out to see the movie like on their own dollar at like a local Cineplex or whatever, and like write about review of it on Sunday. And like it was often like some shitty horror movie or something that like didn't have very good reviews. I'm trying to think of like, I mean, I think Haunting at Molly Hartley was one. Devil was another one that got the Sunday Dreadful status, I think. Probably a bunch of the Saw sequels when those were being made. Yeah, just like one of those things where like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, take what you can get, I guess. Hopefully they got paid well for the reviews. I don't think this movie got the Sunday Dreadful status. Probably deserves something like that, though.
Charlie, you look like you have something to say, do you?
No. I don't have anything to say
No,
about
I
this.
certainly don't. What if we just ended on like 5 minutes of silence of us just clearing our throats and be like, well, that's it, folks. Be safe. Final thoughts. What have we got?
I guess that's just this is the type of thing where like there are certain types of movies that like I guess like this is why I think this is even worse than Red Dawn is this is like promising to be like comfort and fluff and like all, you know, it's a type of escapism that'll make you feel good, and it's just so rotten, and it's just so and there's so little effort put into any of it. I don't know. This isn't good.
No, I don't know. I think that was sort of the lack of ambition. Just sort of like the movie just sort of didn't really have any flavor to it and everything. But it's not like it made me, like, it just sort of washed over me. I don't know. And I think also just, like I said, those 0-star and F grade reviews, I think primed me for it to be like absolutely insufferable, like where I was like going to hate it. So when I watched it, it was just like mediocre. I was just like, okay, sure. I don't know. I feel like we've done way worse movies.
To give it like an F, it implies like that there's something truly like that there's something like hateful in it in an interesting way. This is just like, oh, I can see why this was forgotten by time. It's just a big pile of nothing. Like it's just that like it like to say something's awful with that and actually like worth examining, but like there's nothing here.
Yeah, I mean, I looked up the AV. I sometimes will look up out of curiosity, like, oh, what grade did the AV Club give this movie that I just watched or anything? And I look up AV Club Playing for Keeps. The initial review that they have is like the review that I think Scott Tobias wrote, and then the third result is the Gentleman's F and the Scourge of Deliberate Mediocrity. And it says the last movie I awarded a D- was Playing for Keeps. It's like, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the type of thing where like technically like I gave it 1 star in Letterboxd because I believe half star is for like I don't know the what's a good like I don't know,
House of the Dead.
Yeah, House of the Dead honestly is a good example because it's
Did
like
I give that a house star?
Yeah, because House of the Dead, it was like I wouldn't stop anybody from watching that just because it's like, well, nobody makes movies like Uwe Ball, so you know, like you'll certainly find it's certainly unlike any type of bad movie you'll see. This is just like there.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Almost Major. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Please follow the pod on Twitter at Almost Major to keep up to date with what movies we will be covering in the future. Myself, I can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at Kev Bonesy. Bryden can be found on Twitter at Bryden Doyle and on Letterboxd at J Doyle. Charlie can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at CTNash91. Once again, thank you for listening.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description